Ever wanted to learn more about the people behind the speedruns? Right here. It's this one. My Insane Pace.
ALT Insider coming at you with a very special episode of the My Insane Pace podcast. Yeah, it's a bonus episode here. This is going to be me just talking about my insane idea. Don't worry, a new episode will be out this Thursday. If you're listening to this live, if you listen to this not live, there's plenty of other episodes for you to listen to. So if you don't listen to this, that's fine. Go listen to something else. If you are listening live on the 14th or whatever of December it is on 2017, you can get hyped for Author Blues that's coming on tomorrow. So get hyped for that. So first, let me say I titled this episode "My Insane Idea" because it's a good name. But my idea actually is not insane at all. It's very sane actually. It's also not very unique or original either. But I don't know. There's not enough talk about it, I think, in the speedrunning world, and I think I'm hoping that I can make that talk happen and make this something like this happen, because as some people have noticed in my streams, I always ask one question. I said, what do you think about a live event where people race for money? I ask every single guest that, and some people said, why do you always ask about that? Now you know why. I said some people. One person has asked that, to be perfectly honest. One person has asked that, but to that person, now you know why, because that is my insane idea. I don't want to be sure. I didn't create this podcast to this is my avenue to get this thing on the road towards happening or anything. But it's been an idea I've had for a long time, and I've been having some good talks on my Discord, especially with Ed and all, on about this. We have some good back and forth talk, and because he did some stuff with ESA, so he knows some kind of background. So we had some good discussion about it here, and I think it's just good to get my ideas out here, and and I'm gonna get some feedback. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of all that? What do you guys think of as my ideas? What do you think about if this is something that's possible? Because I really want to make it happen. I'm not. This is not just some kind of pie in the sky thing. I'm thinking like, oh yeah, this would be great. I'm not that kind of person. When I want to make it happen, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure it is happening. It does happen. So my insane idea. Let's get to it before I talk too much about the intro before we get to it, because I know some people are probably listening to this show that don't normally listen to the show, and they just want to get the idea. So let's get to it. But well, one thing before we do that though, and I just said I was going to get to it, but before I get to that though, I'm going to use some rough numbers here. Okay, so and the rough numbers might be very off. Okay, so just don't let the wrong numbers let you lose sight of the overall kind of thing. The overall kind of goal here, because too many times online, when someone's pitching an idea, someone's pitching opinion, and they make one mistake on a small kind of unimportant fact, and then the people that are against the idea just latch on to that, and that just derails everything. So I know it's difficult online not to do that, but I'm saying I'm going to throw out some numbers here just to get the ball rolling, right? Don't think of, if I say a number that's insane, no pun intended, don't say like, okay, well that's it. LT Insider stupid. This is not going to happen. Get out of here, okay? Think of this as a rough as sandpaper idea, rough as sandpaper discussion about what the idea would look like, what will happen, the question. This is more just about the questions of what it would take, right? It's not like here's what's going to happen, here's the date and everything like that, okay? So now really without further ado, let's get to it. So I guess first I want to talk about why something like this is needed, right? And obviously, yes, my idea is a live event, but I'll get more detail later. But first let's get to the kind of the case here. First, let's talk about what speedrunning is. Now, what it is for people. So, from all the people I've interviewed, all the people I've been watching, in the 6-7 years I've been watching speedrunning, there's a lot of things that speedrunning is, right? It's opportunity for improvement, to improve yourself. It's a way to hang out with your friends, hang out with your viewers on Twitch even. It's a way to de-stress. It's a great hobby. It's competition. It's a way to be a part of something bigger than just you. It's a way to be a part of a community. And it's a way to, working towards a common goal, right? There's some games that take thousands of people to work together to make it as fast as it can be. There's a lot of things like this. Now, all of these things have something in common. And all of these things, the thing they have in common is that they are about speedrunners themselves. People with a controller in their hand, hitting the splits, searching for the glitches, going to the GDQs, streaming on Twitch, etc. All those are for the things that speedrunners do that are in the speedrunning community, right? Now, myself, ALT Insider, I'm not a speedrunner. I am, though, part of a much bigger group of people in the speedrunning community that are called speedrun watchers. Okay, so we might not be on Twitch, we might not be at the GDQs, but we take up a much bigger part of the whole speedrunning pie and community. Now, we might not be as active in the community, right? We might not have a big voice in the community, but we are a big part, even bigger than the actual speedrunners themselves. Now, I'm not saying they're more important. Obviously, the speedrunners themselves are the ones that make everything happen, but we are a big part of it, right? We're like the fans of a sports team, right? The players are the real important people, but the fans aren't there. The sport can still happen. I don't want to say the sport can happen, but it's a much smaller deal, right? Look at some of these sports with not big fan bases, like you try to think of a sport, Tiddlywinks or something like that. It was not a good example, but you know what I'm saying. Sports can still happen without the fans, but without the fans and the people watching it, it could not be as big a deal. So now come from me from a speedrun watcher perspective. What do people like me have if we want to enjoy speedrunning? Yeah, we can watch Twitch streams all year. We can listen to podcasts. We can listen to Frame Savers, My Insane Pace podcast now. We can watch Summoning Salt's videos. We can watch all this stuff. Then we have the kind of the GDQs as kind of the Super Bowl twice a year. And of course, there's some online marathons and that kind of sprinkled throughout the year. But really, that's really it, right? There's small events going through. There's Twitch streams on the daily. And then we got the GDQs. It's kind of the twice a year Super Bowl. Now, I think speedrunning is much bigger than just the runners, and I think most people listening to this right now are going to be speedrunners. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but if this is for the speedrunners out there, if you think about it, if you want more viewers, if you want more awesome events, and you want more of everything for speedrunning to get bigger, I know that's not the goal for everyone, but for some people it is. So if we think about it, if we can get speedrunning as big as it can be, we need more events that are catering to the viewing audience. Who is again a bigger piece of the whole speedrunning pie than I think is being talked about, right? So my idea for live speedrun marathon race, not marathon, excuse me, race, no marathon. My idea would make another Super Bowl, would add another Super Bowl to the speedrunning calendar. It might not start out as a Super Bowl. It takes time to build up GDQs to that level. I'm not saying we're going to be as big as the GDQs ever, but it takes time to build up an event. I'm not stupid about that. So, but I would want to add another big event to the speedrunning calendar. So, and I think my idea could be something for both camps, both something that the runners can enjoy and the watchers can enjoy. So, like I said, my idea is a live speedrunning. I need to learn how to say it if I'm going to make this happen, right? So it's going to be a live speedrunning race event. So how it'll work. Now, again, this is extremely rough, okay? This is just my idea in my head right now. Things could come out that make it impossible. Things could come up and make that sound stupid, but here's what it is right now. I would say one day event, maybe start at 7, go to 12 or whatever, maybe earlier if we have to close the place earlier, maybe, start at 5, end at 10, 11, whatever, but maybe 5 games. And of course we pick the biggest games in the speedrunning world because, at the beginning especially, because if we don't have eyes on it, there's no chance of happening. So let's say a quick rough idea what those 5 games might be. I would say Pokemon. I would say Mario 64. I would say Super Metroid. Maybe Super Mario Odyssey, because that's so hot right now. And probably finish with, Zelda, Ocarina of Time, probably. Something, these kind of top tier A games, right? And each game would be a 4-way race. And the race would have a cash prize at the end. Now, I know there'd be, if depending on the game, there had to be some kind of caveats, right? Because you've seen in GDQ, sometimes races can end very badly because just bad things happen and stuff like that. So we'd have to have, each game we'd have to come up with some kind of caveat or rules to follow that it doesn't happen, right? So maybe a Super Metroid, for example, you have to pick up these 2 energy tanks or something, right? That's not a big deal. Like, of course, no one's going for the world record here, right? People are going to try to get first place for the money that is in the first place, And I don't think that wouldn't add more interest. Don't think that would make it less intriguing. I think it'd make it more intriguing, right? Because you got to be strategize. I'm excited. You can tell. You got to strategize to, okay, I'm in the lead by 30 seconds. I can get this extra energy tank because I have this much lead. That kind of stuff would make more strategy than there currently is when you watch, a race at GDQ, whatever. Just try to go as fast as possible. There's no holds barred, fly by the seat of your pants. You know what I mean? That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. So each game would have to have a little bit of a reworking of the route, I guess, to make sure it's safe for the speedrun. You want most people to be in it. Now, of course, sometimes some games it doesn't work. Like I said, Pokemon, that would be kind of tough. I think we'd have to make a hack or a ROM hack or to make it everyone has the same starting Pokemon, for example. Something like that would have to happen, right? And I'm not saying it's even possible, but just for the purposes of this, let's go with it, right? Let's say all these games are possible and there's easy workarounds to make them race friendlier. Because I know it's not possible to make every race perfectly friendly, right? So cash prize, I said, right? I think the cash prize has to be there. I know without the cash prize, it's nothing. It's not nothing, but I think it's not. It would be half as big. So I'm thinking big. as you could tell. I'm thinking first place has to be at least 10 large for each game. I was thinking like maybe you could do the first game as less and then build up to the biggest one, but I think that would make kind of each game is less fair. And so I think maybe, 5,000 maybe is a good first prize to make it a big deal. You want to be that big deal. You want people, if we're going to get sponsors, which is what this will take, we got to get eyes on us on the Twitch, on Twitch for this too, so the bigger the numbers, the bigger it is. And one thing you got to think about is, will people come? Like, right, let's say we're playing Pokemon. We got to have Worcester there, right? How much will it take for him to come out? Is 10,000 first prize, a 1 in 4 chance to get first prize enough to get him out there? I would hope so, but you never know. Is it enough to get cheese there for Super Mario? You never know. Okay, so how will we get the players? That's a good question. Let's bring that up now. I've got my question in front of me, but I'm totally off track of that, so just hopefully I'm making this coherent. How will we get the players for this event? Now, of course, we could just go to speedrun.com and choose the top 4, but I think that would be foolhardy. I think like many esports events, League of Legends, things like that, you have 2 invitational spots and then the first and second people on speedrun.com get spots. Now, what does this do? This builds hype until the event because people can be fighting for those first 2 spots. And the invitational ensures that you get 2 of the biggest names in the game there. I'm not talking, and I know some people are going to say that's not fair. I don't care about fairness. I'm trying to put on an awesome event for as many people as I can. I argue that it is fair because anyone has a chance at first and second place if you have the time, and I know it takes years to build up the skills to play a game, especially like Super Metroid, but it is open to the world if you get first or second. Okay, so before you say that's not fair, think about that, okay? It is fair. It's tough, but it's fair. That's life, actually. It's tough but fair. So 2 invitational spots to make sure we get big names there, and 2, feedrun.com, first and second place. Now, the biggest thing we have to think about, before I get to that, once I think that's kind of the strongest. I think having the 2 invitationals and the 2 top rated places, speedrun.com, ensures that maximum hype, right? Because you have the 2 invitational awesome people, and then you have the 2 people that are kind of fighting it out until that day. And of course, if the invitational person would be one of the first 2 people, we can go to the next person in line, or we can probably choose a different invitational person because we could choose whoever we want from the invitational people. Okay. Remember, we can do whatever we want here. We are flying without wings, as it were. There's no boss over our head right now, at least. So, anyways, let's get to the biggest questions, the biggest question marks in this, of which there are millions. Okay, first of all, since it's my idea, I need to have the biggest hand in putting it together. Of course, right? If there's any idea you want to have happen, you have to be the one that makes it happen. I want to do that. Negatives. I live in Japan, right? And for this event, it's going to have to be in America, obviously, right? So, unfortunately, I don't have the disposable income to fly back and forth to fly back and forth many times to facilitate meetings and stuff like that. This kind of things take. Of course, I hope much of that can be done online, and I could take a few trips for sure, but I can't go back and forth. So that's one issue to make this thing happen, because especially when you're getting sponsors and stuff, face-to-face meetings are much more effective ways to get sponsorship, which is something I've done for much smaller events here in Japan. Much smaller events, and not for esports at all. Different field altogether, for teaching events, actually. So those events, I know, if you want to get sponsored, it's face-to-face, and I can't do that right now. Okay, so is that a huge negative? I don't know. Because obviously we're going to need sponsors. That's another thing. I do not want to go GoFundMe, Kickstarter. I do not want to do that for this. I think those things are great, but I think now there's like a negative stigma attached, right? If you do that for Kickstarter, if let's say we did start a Kickstarter for my insane tournament, and the Kickstarter is 50 large, 50 G's, 50K, and it gets hit, it gets smashed. People say, well, 50% chance the event happens now. Like there's no like definite, okay, Kickstarter made it happen, so I don't want to do that route. Would I, if that turns out to be the only way, will I not go that route? I don't know. I mean, it is a good way to see if there is an audience, of course, but I don't know. I'd rather go the sponsorship route and selling tickets route, of course, for the funding, of which we need significant funding. Let's not be real. There's 10K for each winner, 5 or 10K, and the second place, I guess, should get at least a 1,000 for the trouble, right? You got to give them something. If it's 4 people, it has to be something like that. So the first question is, it's going to be tough for me to do it while I'm in Japan. I can work wherever I want to, but I do have 2 kids and stuff. I got to be here. So it's going to be tough for that. But I will sacrifice the time needed for that, but it's going to be tough. Second, sponsorships, they require, it's better to do that face to face. So obviously sponsorship is always a big deal. Getting sponsorship is a huge problem with all events. So that is something to think about, though, for sure. Next problem. Would people come, right? That's a good question. If I've been researching places, very roughly researching places. I've contacted a few places just to see some rough numbers. And would people come to a 1,000-seater for this? I don't know. Would people come to a 2,000-seater for this? I don't know. I've talked to many places that are of that size. You talk to one kind of, GDQs are in ballroom kind of areas. I'll talk to one of those places, and would it take, how many people could we fit in there and stuff like that. So yeah, would people come? It's a huge question that I don't know until I get my idea out there and people tell me what they think. Now, another question would be kind of, is since this is an unknown event, and I know there has been rumblings of Machinima tried to begin this event, but that didn't happen. So that caused me worry too. Like, Machinima has the resources to make it happen, but they didn't make it happen. So what was the problem there? Why didn't people come to that, right? So just to get the ball rolling even more, let's talk about numbers, right? So I contacted a few places to see about how much it would cost to get their place. And the ballroom was like 3,000 or 5,000 for the night. Some of the 1,000-seater or 2,000-seater was about 5,000 or 10,000. Then we need 10,000 for each first place prize. That's 4,000, 4 or 5,000 if we do 5 games. We could do 4 games, but 5,000 for that, 1,000 for the second one. That's another 4 Gs quickly down the drain. Then we need to think about the other costs. So the other cost would be getting the people there. I think if you do a tournament correctly, you got to pay for the people to come there and get a hotel for them. That's a lot of money there too. Would people come if they don't have a plane fare? Maybe that's something we could work on. Maybe scratch out of but are some people willing to play the 500 hour plane ticket for the experience when they might have a chance at 10,000, but they might have a chance for 0. So that's something to think about. We also got to talk about the games and getting all the systems ready, getting all the screens ready, getting all the setup ready. Now, Eden talked to me about. He said the people from ESA would be someone I should contact, and I definitely will contact them and see how much it would cost them to put that together, because I'm sure we'd be doing multiple systems. We need a big screen. We need, to make it fair, at the fresh systems there, and I guess everyone could bring their own controller, but it had to have fresh systems ready, all that stuff. Setup costs, obviously, setup costs would be huge. Now, how much we would, of course, get some money of that back from tickets, but how much would tickets cost? You don't want to go too much with that. $20, whatever. How many people would watch on Twitch? Another question, how many people would watch on Twitch? Sponsors don't want something back for their investment. As Sinister One said in his interview, if we do something like that, sponsors are going to want to see a return. And with a unknown like this would be, how many viewers can we take? I'm sure we're going to get a few what the fuck views, right? And there will be people will be hyped to see what it could be if it's done correctly, and if it's not if it doesn't, if it goes off without a hitch, and people do come and the big names come to play in this, but we never know, right? There's all questions. Another thing, someone brought up in my Discord, my Insane Pace Discord, they said we would need GDQ support or we would fail. So maybe one way to make this happen would be to make it be a part of a GDQ. Now, I'm not against that. I think that would extremely lessen the hype of this event. But if that's what it would take to prove to sponsors that this can happen, then I would, of course, do that. Anything that can make this happen, I'm willing to do. I will change my grand vision to make it happen. I will definitely do that, for sure. So that's basically it. I guess I want to do one quick recap again, just to make sure we're all on the same page. And if I want this is not the end of the discussion, right? I want this to be the start of the discussion about what people think of this idea. Share this podcast, tell me what you think on my email, james@myinsanepace.com. On Reddit, if someone posts on Reddit, I'm not going to do it. You know what that does. So, on Discord, My Insane Pace Discord, come on in and talk about it. I think I want this to be the beginning of discussion, not this is what's going to happen. I'm going to do it. See you guys. You know what I mean? I'll see you when the night happens. It's not going to be like that. I want this to be a 2-way street, a 20,000 way street where we build something together, and that makes it more awesome if it happens too, right? So let's go through my idea one more time and just to get the things out of the way. The main point. So the My Insane Pace tournament would be a live tournament in a small venue, 1,000-seater, 2,000-seater, something like that. Maybe a ballroom if it has to be that. 4 or 5 games. Each game gets 4 people. And the top tier games, of course, we want viewers. And of course, if this becomes an annual thing, we can maybe the first game of the tournament every year will be kind of a more a less top tier game, maybe we'll sneak in something that's less top tier for every year. But I mean, the first one we want it to be big, so I think we would stick to the top tier, the top of the top tier. 5 games, 4 runners. 2 of these runners. Two of these runners are invitationals. We send them an invitation to come because of who they are, the names they built up themselves, their Twitch following. Remember, we need people to watch here, guys. So sad but true, we have to have 2 invitationals, like many esports events do. The remaining 2 contestants come from speedrun.com, the first and second people on the leaderboards at whatever time we set as the deadline. That makes our 4 competitors. I recommend that we find a way to pay for them to get there and pay for their hotel for the night, because I think that's how an event should be run. Is that possible? We don't know. There's a lot of things we're not sure if that's possible. But also, for each game we choose, we kind of make sure we bend the route just slightly so it's more tournament friendly. So, for example, in Super Metroid, you have to pick up these two energy tanks. Remember, we're not going for world records here. We're going for getting first place that night against those 4 people. So that will add more strategy to some things, because if you have a big lead, you might play it safe, but the people behind you have to be really risky and try other things. And of course, there's going to be some races where they don't turn out to be great. Some Super Bowls don't turn out to be great. Actually, most Super Bowls are very average. There's a few that are insane. There are a few that are horrible. So I think that is totally fine. That's a normal thing for a sporting event like this is. And also for the prize, so for each game there'll be a prize. $10,000 prize for each game is what I initially proposed. If that has to be $5,000, I will accept that. But I think at least has to be at least that to get hype, media interest, to get people to watch on Twitch. There has to be some weight to it, and weight comes in the form of dollar bills often in life. So that is how I request we do it. Is a cash prize of $10,000, and maybe second place can get $1,000 or something. Third and fourth, nothing, of course. Did I say everything in there I wanted to say? Speedrun live event, 4 or 5 games, 4 or 5 runners, 2 coming from invitationals, 2 coming from speedrun.com, 1 first and second place, cash prize for all the games. Okay, questions. The biggest questions to answer, and I would love to hear ways to answer them. If you have more questions, let them fire away, please. I want to hear all the opinions I can. First question is, we need sponsors, obviously. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's no joke about that. It's going to cost a lot of money. Would people come? Would people come to an event? How many people would watch the event? Do we need to get GDQ support to make this event happen? Of course, it would be stronger with GDQ support, but would they even be interested in something like this? I disagree. I don't think they would, because it's kind of against brand, right? It's not. There's no part of this that is a charitable effort. I mean, there could be. Maybe whatever we raise, the pool of money we get from this event, we give $5,000 to kill the animal or save the animals. Just kidding. I would never do that. I don't like that incentive. But we just donate to Doctors Without Borders anyway. If Doctors Without Borders is the right charity still, right? I think so. Yeah. So that's what we would do. But I don't think GDQ would be interested in that, to be honest. If they are, that'd be awesome, because it'd be great to have their support and their kind of their everything behind the GDQ machine that it is. It would be awesome to have that, right? So yeah, that's basically it. The questions, we have to get all the equipment, how many people would come. Yeah, a lot of questions. Still a lot of questions, right? But question marks, right? But this is something I want to make happen for real. Let's talk about the future now, okay? Because if you got this far, that means you're kind of at least listening to me so far. So let's talk about the future. What's going to happen from here? From here, after posting this podcast, I'm going to email the person Ed and all told me to email about how much it would cost to set up, just to get some rough numbers, right? Of what it would cost to set up the event with the lights, the equipment, the games, all that kind of stuff. What is ESA charge for that kind of stuff? I think he told me in Discord, but I forget. But what do they charge for that kind of stuff? What was that need? Also, I'm going to contact Sinister One just to set a line out there and say, hey, what do you think about this? Can you give this a listen and tell me what you think? I'll tell them the important parts, so then to listen to the whole episode. Just what does it think? And of course, Twitch, if they want to sponsor, that'd be a great thing. But we're very far away from even proposing anything. But yeah, I want to get what is Twitch? What does Sinister One think about that? And in terms of this, I kind of want to make this a series, right? Because I want to do this. I want to do this on podcast. I want to do this on record. So if someone from the ESA writes back about the thing, I want to be sure to ask them if they'll come on the podcast. I want to interview them about it too, because I want to keep this going live, right? I want it to be a working thing to happen, right? Think about how awesome that event will be if, we all kind of take this journey together to making it be a success. Now, I know that it's still a long shot to happen, right? But if you go into something with as much hype and as much, excitement as you can, that can overcome some bumps in the road that are inevitably going to happen, right? So right now I'm filled with want to make this happen, right? I'm filled to the top. And I know not everyone's going to love this idea. I know some people hate the idea of competition and what it might do to change speedrunning if you inject a little prize money into it. There's already money in speedrunning. Let's not kid ourselves. There's a lot of money in speedrunning. Some people are making tens of thousands a month or more from speedrunning alone. I just want to make something that the speedrun watchers, like myself, another thing that they can enjoy in the calendar. And it's a way for speedrunners to make money too. Something that people can strive to do, which I think is important in any sport, even or gaming, because, you know, if I watch Zoast win $10,000 live, how many people will that make? How many people will that inspire to try SuperMetroid.com? SuperMetroid.com. How many people will that inspire to try speedrunning Super Metroid? How much discussion will that create about SuperMetroid.com for people that are trying to, you know, topple the top of the tier player that is Zoast one day in the future, you know? Of course, most people will never get close to Zoast time, but that's okay. Most people will never throw a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, but there are millions of people out there that try to get there and practice and have fun improving themselves to get there. I want to create something like that. I want to create something that it's you know, it's just good for so many ways. I could go on forever, but I'm gonna stop here. I don't know who knows how long I've been fucking talking. 27 minutes. Okay, that's long enough for me to talk. So I'm done. You've heard my idea, my insane idea, my very sane, insane idea. Tell me what you think. It's really, I want to hear from you guys every way possible. If you think it sucks, tell me why it sucks. If you think it's good but it needs work, what needs work? What do you think about numbers? Can you help? Do you have any idea about, you know, getting sponsors? Have the ideas of venues, things like this? I want to hear everything, okay? I want this to be the start of talk about this, my insane tournament. Because I want it to be a real thing. I think it would be awesome for speedrunning, awesome for speedrunners, awesome for speedrun watchers, everything, man. So I'm really hyped about this, and I hope to make it happen in the future for sure. So thanks for listening, everybody. Hope to hear from you on Twitter, email, My Insane Base Discord, all the things. But thanks for listening. Let's make it happen, guys. Sometime in the future, My Insane Tournament. See ya.